We gotta protect ourselves in this in the long run. Thank you so much, guys. Good to see you, Gary, Chris, Nicole. Turning now to our other big story here. Well, actually, we're just talking about this. The tariffs themselves. We had today Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin sitting down with Maria Bartiromo, and here's what he told her. He said the president is not backing off any of these steel and aluminum tariffs. Watch.
We are definitely going to end up with these tariffs, and we're going to roll this out very, very quickly. But again, there will be a mechanism where, to the extent that the president wants to give waivers, the president can do that. But again, we are moving forward with these tariffs, and that's the plan.
Well, my next guest likes hearing that. He says that these tariffs are very necessary right now. They're the only thing that can really help level the playing field. Joining me now, Nucor CEO John Ferriola. Hey, John, thanks for being on here today.
Thanks for having me.
You obviously, your company has a lot to gain. Your workers have a lot to gain. Tell us why you're so thrilled with this move.
Well, we very much support the president in his decision to move forward with these tariffs. You know, I've heard you say it several times on your show. All we're really doing here is leveling the playing field. Let's remember that most countries in the world have some form of tariff or trade tax, most of them called value-added tax. I hear a lot of talk about Europe retaliating for us implementing this 25% tariff, when in fact, for over 30 years, they've had a 25% VAT tax on our products going into their countries. So all we're really doing here is leveling the playing field, treating our trading partners the way they've been treating us for the last 30 years.
Well, walk me through it. So China's sending steel to us, right? And aluminum to us. And they have industries that are subsidized, correct, by their government. And so they're able to basically produce this stuff in mass and send it over here for less of a cost than it would cost you guys to produce the same stuff?
Yes, absolutely. And please remember that, you know, when we talk about subsidies and the things that are taking place in China, they are in violation of WTO rules and regulations. They're in violation of our trade laws. And that's something that we're not hearing about when we keep all of this discussion about tariffs. Let's remember that we are reacting to countries that have violated our trade laws for many years, putting us at a disadvantage and putting at risk an industry that is in fact critical to our national defense.
John, so when your material is exported to them, did they actually charge more because it's coming from the U.S.? Is there a tax or a tariff that they put on your materials, or is there no point in exporting to them because they're making so much themselves?
Well, as a general statement, for most countries in the world, that statement you just made is true. They are charging us to bring product into their country. In the case of China, we are prohibited from exporting steel into China. So it's not a matter of whether or not they charge us a tariff. It's not possible for us to get the licenses we need to bring steel, U.S.-made steel, into China.
Gotcha. When do you think this will go in effect?
I hope they go into effect very quickly. You heard the president make the comments to the press last week that he was going to move forward with the tariffs and that they would be announced sometime next week, meaning this week. So I hope that that's true. I hope we see the announcement coming sometime in the next couple of days.
Next couple of days, okay. And what do you feel that announcement is going to mean for you and your company?
Well, what it means for us is it will increase our ability to reinvest in our company, to expand our product breadth, to build new plants, and ultimately, we absolutely will. We have continued to invest in our company during the down cycle. Over the last 8 years, we've invested just about $6 to $7 billion. What this will do is will give us an ability to accelerate that investment in our company, hire more workers, and they in turn can contribute to the economy of the United States. So what do you say to all those people who say, well, look, the steel industry only employs 130,000 people, and, basically all the industries that use steel employ over 6 million people, and so it has the effect of actually hurting everybody else in the economy. What do you say in response to that, John? Well, the premise behind that statement is the fact that costs are going to increase so much that our downstream customers other manufacturing operations will not be able to continue to operate in the United States. And that's just not accurate. Let's look at some of the facts. Very briefly, an automobile today, the average car in the United States costs about $36,200 to buy. And if you look at the amount of steel that goes into it, it's 1 ton of steel. Average cost of that steel is about $800. If pricing went up 20%, which I think is a high level given the tariffs, even if it did go up 20%, that's $160 on a $36,000 vehicle.
Yeah,
I really
hear
doubt
ya.
people will be moving
No,
out
I agree.
factories based on
Right, or paying
That's-
a penny more for the beer. The reality is that I think a lot of people in America would feel good about knowing that an industry that is important to us, that we need from a national security standpoint as well, it is being protected. And if this is what it takes, maybe it's the extra $130, $160 on the car purchase. Anyway, John, we'll be watching. I look forward to talking to you again in the near future, perhaps in the next couple of days when the tariffs happen.
Let's hope so. Thank you, Trish.
Thanks. They may be looking at a 25% tariff on steel, and they send 40% of our steel comes from Canada.
Donald Trump hasn't let me down yet in regard to economic policy. I don't think he's going to let me down on this one either.
Congressman Duffy, it's good to see you.
You too,
Thank you.
Trish.